DaVinci friends, or should I say DaVinci scientists. Today is STEM Day during the week of the young child. Today I thought we could do a fun little experiment together. It's called Sink or Float. What you'll need is a bucket or a pot, anything that can hold some water. We're going to fill it up with some water just from the sink, and then you'll need some just random items around the house that your parents will let you use, of course. I walked around and I got a pen, a measuring spoon, a bottle cap, a quarter, a sponge that's dry, and I'm going to use one of my beans to see which items are going to sink in the water and which items are going to float in the water. I also got a piece of paper and I drew a picture of each item and I wrote their names on it too. I'm not a very good artist. And then I gave them columns. One says sink with arrows pointing down because when something sinks, it goes down to the bottom. And I have a float column with an arrow pointing up because if it's going to float, it's going to stay up above the water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to put either check mark or an X in the column for each item. So if my bottle cap sinks, I'm going to check off the sink column. If it floats, then I'm going to check off the float column. And I'm going to do that for each item. You'll see. It's going to be so much fun. I've always loved doing this experiment. I'm just going to move this down so you can see my bucket. Perfect. And I'm going to start with the bottle cap. Now I'm going to keep the bottle cap opening facing up on my first try to see if having the opening changes my result. So I'm going to drop it in. Ooh, it's floating. So I'm going to put a check mark in the float column. And now let's see if it changes if I turn it around. The opening's facing down. Nope, it's still floating. All right, so I'm just going to keep that check mark on float. I'm going to take it out so I can put my next object in, which is my sponge. I have a wavy sponge, that's why my picture looks all crazy. And I'm just going to place the sponge and see what happens. Oh, it's floating too. Put a check mark on float next to sponge. Here, let me move it closer so you can see. All right. Ooh, but look, when it gets wet, it starts to sink. Oh. It's still kind of floating. Still floating. We're going to keep that as a float. It sunk a little bit, but it stayed above water for the most part. Bring this out. All right. My next one is my pen. Let's see what happens with the pen. Whoa. It's floating. I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to sink because it felt heavy to me. But I was wrong. My prediction was wrong. A prediction is when you make an educated guess. So that means if you feel something and it feels heavy to you, you're going to think that it's going to sink. And if it feels light to you, you're going to think that it can float. So the quarter feels heavy. I'm going to say it's going to sink. I'm going to predict that. Let's see. Whoa, yep, it sunk really fast. So now we got to check the sink column for the quarter. And now I'm going to grab a bean. Now a bean's little, but it feels kind of heavy for the size that it is. So I'm going to say that this is going to sink probably. Oh, it did. It sunk just like the quarter did. So check off the sink column. I got my paper a little wet from my hands, but there we go. All checked off. And my last one, let's get the bean out of there, is my measuring spoon. Now my measuring spoon has openings just like the bottle cap did. So I'm going to keep the openings facing up to see what happens. My measuring spoon feels kind of heavy, so I'm going to say that it might sink because it's heavy. Let's see. I was wrong. It's floating. But what happens if we turn it around so that the openings are facing down? I wonder if that'll make it sink. Oh, it's still floating. Very cool. I thought it was going to sink. It felt so heavy to me. That was awesome. I guess we all learned something together today. I hope you guys had fun predicting and experimenting with sink or float. And I'll see you soon. Bye.